This video will be on evidence of the racist and genocidal Coudenhove Kalergi plan, and I will start off by stating European Aryan demographic percentage peaks and European Aryan demographic percentages now. South Africa had a European Aryan demographic peak of 21%. It is now 9%. That is a decrease of 12%. Namibia went from being 14% white to 7% white, which is a decrease of 7%. Algeria went from being 15% European to 1% European. That's a decrease of 14%. Libya went from being 13% to less than 1%. Zimbabwe 7% to 0.2%. That's a decrease of 6.8% of the total country's demographics. Angola went from 4% to 1%, decrease of 3%. Zambia 2% to 0.2%, 1.8% total demographic decrease. Britain was 100% homogeneous in the 17th century. It is now 87.1% white British. That's a decrease of 12.9%. England is 80% English. Wales is 92% British and 73% Welsh. Cornwall is 96% British. Scotland is 96% white and 84% Scottish. Ireland is 95% white. United States went from being 89% white to 64% white. Sweden is now 80% Swedish. France is 89% French. Germany is 80% German. Canada went from being 89% white in 1996 to 76% now, and Canada is the fastest declining nation in terms of Aryan demographics in the Occident. London went from being 79.8% white in 1991 to 59.79% in 2011. United Nations said that the European Union should undermine homogeneity in Europe. That equates to demographic threat and demographic change. And racist bigots such as Peter Sutherland, Sakant Chandan, Noel Ignatieff, Barbara Specter, Wes Clark, and George Soros are all Kalergi pushers. And General Wesley Clark made a disgusting and racist statement on the Central News Network about Yugoslavia. There is no place in modern Europe for ethnically pure states. That's a 19th century idea, and we are trying to transition into the 21st century, and we are going to do it with multi-ethnic states. And so-called moderate Frederick Reinfeldt said, Sweden belongs to the immigrants and not the Swedes. What makes this worrying that he is a former Swedish premier. On the 12th of January 1952 in Budapest, Kalergi pusher Rabbi Rabinovich stated, "We will openly reveal our identity with the races of Asia and Africa. I can state with assurance that the last generation of white children is now being born. Our control commission will, in the interests of peace and wiping out of interracial tensions, forbid the whites to mate with whites. The white woman must cohabit with members of the dark races, the white man with black women. Thus, their white race will disappear, for mixing dark with white means the end of the white man, and our most dangerous enemy will become only a memory. We shall embark upon an era of 10,000 years of peace and plenty. Pax Judaica, and our race will rule undisputed over the world. Our superior intelligence will enable us to retain mastery over a world of dark peoples." And that rant was published in United States publication Common Sense. George Ciccarello Marr, a professor of politics and global studies at Drexel University, Philadelphia, said the following: "All I want for Christmas is white genocide. To clarify, when the whites were massacred during the Haitian Revolution, that was a good thing." And that isn't the only racist comment that comes from a professor in the United States. Professor Jose Angel Gutierrez says we have to eliminate the gringo. And he says, "Our devil has pale skin and blue eyes." On the 11th of June 1997, Bill Clinton said the following: "This will arguably be the third great revolution of America if we can prove that we literally can live without having a dominant European culture." And this isn't the only Democrat to assail European Occidental Aryans. Tim Kaine said, I think the burden is on those of us who are in the majority, the Caucasians here. We have to put ourselves in situations where we are the minority. And Joe Biden topped the aforementioned racist rants with the following. The wave still continues. It's not going to stop, nor should we want it to stop. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things we can be most proud of. An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop. Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent for the first time in 2017 will be an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be of white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength. And if you think Biden's rant was bad, listen to what Nicolas Sarkozy says on the matter. Miscegenation is not a choice, it's an obligation. We must change, therefore we will change. If volunteerism doesn't work for the Republic, then the state will have to take more coercive measures. And Dr. Thierry Lecoq said, provide multicoloured descendants to the sinking country of France. And if you think things in France are bad, let's look at Sweden and what Mona Sahlin said. The white majority is the problem. The Swedes must be integrated into the new Sweden. The old Sweden will not return. And a Korean immigrant to Norway, Tobias Hubenet, said, let the white race West Country perish in blood and suffering. That's lovely. That's lovely bigotry and racism there. And look at what the anthropologist professor of Oslo University said, Thomas Eriksson. Deconstructing the majority so thoroughly that it can never be called the majority again. And this has echoes of what Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi said in Brussels during 1925. We intend to turn Europe into a mixed race. And that shows his racist and genocidal tendencies. Sixth grade English language teacher Tarsha Clark in America had the audacity to impose her bigotry on Rockingham County school students when she forced white students to apologise for non-existent white privilege. And if anyone thinks I am exaggerating about the genocidal and racist nature of the Coudenhove Kalergi plan. Let's look at Article 2 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide, which is the law of genocide that the United Nations uses, and it states the following definition: deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or part, imposing measures intended to prevent births in the group. This is why there is a zealous campaign to repeal the Equality of Life Amendment, which is the 8th Amendment to the 1937 Free State Constitution in Ireland. Also, feminist publication Medusa magazine called for aborting white babies. Emerald City Antifa put up racist posters which said, "When you date a white, it's not alright." And the poster also said that the propagation of whites is propagation of racism and hatred. Antifa Squad posted this disgusting and bigoted rant on Facebook. Racism and whiteness are the same thing. In order to end racism, we must end whiteness. That's the only solution. If you're white, do the right thing and have non-white children. Also make sure other whites who date whites are aware that they are racists perpetuating racism. Once there are few enough whites in a couple of generations, the non-whites will surely be able to capitalize on the opportunity to end racism for good. This is why us whites are better off not having white offspring. That is the only way we can reduce our inherent racism to a forgivable level. We must end racism, not participate in it. Tajikistan, Armenia, Georgia, Belarus, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Hungary, Moldova, Romania, Russia, Slovakia, Ukraine, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Greece, Italy, Kosovo, Montenegro, Portugal, Serbia, Spain, Macedonia, Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Switzerland, Cuba, Uruguay, Canada, America are all Aryan majority nations with abortion on demand. And this brings us on to 10 ways a subnormal racist bigot, he is anything but wise, but let's look at his racist rant anyway. And he is speaking to European Occidental Aryans when he says this: "You're on the endangered species list, and unlike, say, the bald eagle or some exotic species of muskrat, you are not worth saving. In 40 years or so, maybe fewer, there won't be any more white people around." Jamie Foxx said in relation to Django Unchained, I kill all the white people in the movie. How great is that? And we can look at what Samir Shabazz said. Every last iota of a cracker, I hate it. I hate white people. All of them. You want freedom? You're going to have to kill some crackers. You're going to have to kill some of their babies. Eric Holder's Justice Department dropped voter intimidation charges against Shabazz. So, if the establishment wasn't on the side of the Kalergi pushers, why would they drop the charges against such a vile and dangerous character? Let's look at what Malik Shabazz said. Somebody has to come here and fire up the field slave. Denmark VC had a plan to kill all the slave masters in the state. Denmark VC had a plan to kill every last one of them and kill all their goddamn families. We have to complete what Denmark didn't finish. And where would these Kalergi pushers get such horrible and racist ideas? Well, Arizona State University teaches a course titled The Problem of Whiteness. And we can look at what Andrew Naylor said. And Andrew Naylor was an advisor to Tony Blair, Jack Straw and David Blunkett. And he said, the government was going to make the UK truly multicultural. He said, policy was intended to rub the right's nose in diversity and render their arguments out of date. And he said it was a deliberate policy to open up the UK to mass migration. And this is a key point right here. This was done in secret in order not to alienate Labour's core working class vote. And we can look at what Rabbi Barak Efrati said. Jews should rejoice at the fact that Europe is paying for what it did to us for hundreds of years by losing its identity. And let's look at what the deplorable Gregor Gysi said. There has to be a legal way to get asylum in Europe. Countries like Poland, very Catholic by the way, have to be willing to accept refugees. Oh, and by the way, every year more native Germans die than there are born. That is very fortunate. It's because the Nazis are not very good at having offspring. Brother leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi tried to warn people regime change against Libya would advance the Coudenhove Kalergi plan. People from NATO, listen to me. You bombed the wall which didn't pass a migration stream to Europe. This wall which stopped Al-Qaeda terrorists Libya was this wall. You have ruined it. You're idiots. Other evidence of the Coudenhove Kalergi plan is Dia Khan saying in a BBC interview that Britain would never be white again. There was the Rote Antifa German feminist who, after Cologne, held a sign saying, "We'll trade racists for rapists." Let's think about the implications of her bigotry. Bear in mind that said rapists were African. What she was saying is that demographically she would replace European men for African men. And if people are still skeptical, I would like to ask a few questions. Why are there Wahhabi patrols across the Occident? Why are there no-go areas for white Christians in the Occident? Why did the police investigation into such areas in Sweden find that there was a proliferation of such areas in Sweden? Why has there been over 75,000 murders of Afrikaners since 1994? Why do South African farmers suffer a murder rate of over 200? And the source for that is statistical data from the Transvaal Agricultural Union. Why did Zimbabwe's white population go from 296,000 in 1975 to 28,732 in 2012? Well, and moving on to Sukhant Chandan, who is basically the worst racist bigot against European Occidental Aryans. He said, "Black and Asian peoples should come here in hundreds of millions," and he said the quote in London. And as I said, he is an anti-European and a racist fascist. And he said, "We are here to stay permanently. Keep that racist crap up and you won't be." And this brings us on to Central News Network's Anthony Bourdain, who was talking to an anti-white German who said people mixing it up, and in 70 or 80 years time there will be no white people. Anthony Bourdain said in reply, "It's the only way, the only solution." That word solution again. What racist genocide comes to mind when the word solution is used in relation to racist genocide? And another question I'd like to ask people: why is this forced demographic change being imposed on the Occident and only the Occident. If there is no white genocide, then why did Time magazine report that in 17 US states, white death rates are higher than white birth rates? If there is no white genocide, then why did New Republic brag that a post-white America is already here in November 2014? Why did The Hill in December 2016 brag that America's aging white population is speeding up what they call diversity? Why did The Guardian in September 2000 predict that whites in America and Europe would be minorities, only for The Guardian to change its tune in August 2015, saying Europe needs many more babies to avert a population disaster? Why does the United Nations have a replacement migration agenda for France, Germany, Britain, America, Italy and Russia? Why does that strategy identify Europe as a target region? The Telegraph reported in February 2015 that Europe is slowly dying despite an increasing world population. In December 2012, United States Census Bureau projected that the US white population would decrease by 20,600,000 between 2024 and 2060. In Haaretz, Yigal Ben Nun wrote that Arab migration has been the best thing that's happened to Europe in the past 50 years. Arabs in Europe are a fact of life. It's time we started to accept that there is no way to block the migration of Chinese, Pakistanis or Arabs to Europe. It's true, Europe won't be what it once was, but that's a good thing. The more migrants from Africa and Asia who arrive, the better off Europe will be. Sooner or later, their children and grandchildren will marry into veteran European families and change the demographics of their countries. Europe will be different. Journalist Annetta Kahane said, "You have to really change the policy of immigration inside Europe. This is very important. You have to adapt the educational system and adapt the self-understanding of the states. They are not anymore only white or only Swedish or only Portuguese or only German. They are multicultural places in the world." Werner Joseph Pazelt said, "Look, it's not the people that is getting replaced. The people are changing. That is the whole purpose of becoming a multi-ethnic and multicultural society of immigration. It's not supposed to stay the way it was. It's not supposed to stay the way it is." And the lineup of the German soccer team perfectly demonstrates this. The German people are changing. The only problem is that many in Germany experience this as something that was decided for them. Stephanie von Berg of the Hamburg legislature spouted, "Our society will change. Our cities will change radically. I hold that in 20 to 30 years there will no longer be majorities in our country." This is what migration researchers say. We will live in a city that thrives on having many different ethnicities, that we have plenty of people and live in a super cultural society. This is what we will have in the future, and I want to make it very clear, especially towards those right wingers, this is a good thing. MEP Daniel Cohn-Bendit said, "We the Greens have to make sure to get as many immigrants as possible into Germany. When they are in Germany, we must fight for their right to vote. When we reach that, we will have a share of the vote. We need to change this republic." Joschka Fischer wrote, "Germany is to be contained from the outside and heterogenized from the inside by influx, diluted, so to speak." Susan Sontag wrote, "Mozart, Pascal, Boolean algebra, Shakespeare, parliamentary government, Baroque churches, Newton, the emancipation of women, Kant, Balanchine ballets, all don't redeem what this particular civilization has wrought upon the world. The white race is the cancer of human history." Lisa Williamson said, "So if you're a gang member and you would normally be killing somebody, why not kill a white person?" Professor of Hawaiian Studies Hanone K. Trask said, "Racist white women, I could kick your face, punch your both eyes. You deserve this kind of violence." Co-founder, Center for the Study of White American Culture, Jeff Hitchcock said, "There is plenty to blame whiteness for. There is no crime that whiteness has not committed against people of colour. There is no crime that we have not committed, even against ourselves. We must blame whiteness for the continuing patterns today that deny the rights of those outside of whiteness and which damage and pervert the humanity of those of us within it." Now, let's look at the racist lyrics of Sean Majumder's Beige Power, performed on Canadian Broadcasting Corporation comedy. "People, it's inevitable. A beige horizon, brown meets white, no use disguising. People out making whoopee, colour blinded by love, genetic crisscrossing. Forgot to wear a glove. Whoops, there it goes. Generational drip. Look at the pure breeds losing their grip. Beige power, beige power. Mixy mix horizon, gonna look the same by the year 3000. Beige power, beige power. Can't fool us with hate. This is Canada, bitch. We already great." Owner of the New York Times, Arthur Sulzberger Jr. said, "If white men were not complaining, it would be an indication we weren't succeeding in making the inroads that we are." And to get back to beige power, here's the lyrics of Swedish State TV song, Mix It Up. "Sweden, if you got a problem with integration, Extra got a little tip for you. Where my sisters with blonde hair, take a black man between your thighs and just mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. I'm saying, hey Latina, it's a farce, rub up against Nazis, and he's just an ecstasy, betraying his race all through the night. Mix it up, mix it up. Extra is telling you to mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. I'm saying mix it up, all of Sweden, mix it up, just mix it up." Now it's like this. Many of my homies from Israel are doing it in Ramallah every night. Allah, inshallah, fuck. And Afghan sisters, if you want some, then just go down after darkness sets in. Mix it up, mix it up. Thou ancient, thou free, and mountainous north, thou quiet, thou joyful beauty, mix it up. Extra is telling you to mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. I'm saying mix it up, mix it up. All of Sweden, mix it up. Now, just go and mix it up, mix it up. Take a black man between your thighs and just take a white man between your legs, and just take a red man between your legs, take a yellow man between your legs. Sweden knows what's up. And that is the excrement that the state media in Sweden spouts and puts out. And let's remind us what Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi wrote in Practical Idealism. The man of the future will be of mixed race. Today's races and classes will gradually disappear owing to the vanishing of space, time and prejudice. The Eurasian Negroid race of the future, similar in its appearance to the ancient Egyptians, will replace the diversity of peoples with a diversity of individuals. Instead of destroying European Jewry, Europe against its own will refined and educated people into a future leader nation through this artificial selection process. And let's remind us of other Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi quotes from his 1923 work, Pan-Europa. In European factories, weapons are daily forged to rend European men. In European laboratories, daily are brewed poisons to exterminate European women and children. The threat of war means thorough destruction of Europe, its culture and economy. Other parts of the world will take its place. So every European can participate in the demise or the resurrection of Europe. This is why the United Nations said Europe needs to accept 159 million non-Europeans by 2025 in its January 2000 report, Immigration Replacement, a Solution to Declining and Aging Populations. George Brock Chisholm, a former World Health Organization director, said, "What people everywhere need to do is to limit births and promote mixed marriages. The outcome will be the creation of a single race throughout the world, which can be directed by a central authority." Adam Kotzko, assistant humanities professor at Schimmer College, Illinois, said, "Whether or not your individual ancestors owned slaves, you as a white person have benefited from slavery and are complicit in it. Sorry, we should commit mass suicide." If the Kalergi plan is merely conspiracy, then why did Priceonomics publish an article in September 2016 titled, "Why is Interracial Marriage on the Rise?" Why in June 2015 did Pew publish a research report titled, "Interracial Marriage, Who is Marrying Out?" Why in November 2014 did Meg.com publish an article titled, "Interracial Dating is Making America More Beautiful. Here's How." Why in July 2014 did The Telegraph publish an article called "Love Across the Divide, Interracial Relationships Growing in Britain"? Why did VOA publish an article titled "Number of Interracial Marriages, Multiracial Americans Growing Rapidly" in May 2017? Why did NPR have an article showing a five-fold increase in interracial marriages 50 years after they became legal? This article was in May 2017. Quite frankly, I've provided enough evidence here. And if you still don't accept it, there's not many arguments that are going to get through to you. And if others would like to learn more, you can search for this on Google and you will find plenty of material to back up what I have just said in this video.